What's up, everyone? Kriddle here, and I want to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I put in about a dozen hours or so. As you can see, I'm got a level 17 account, and I've really been enjoying the game. So if you don't know what this game is, it's basically a lot like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, which is a survival horror game. The goal is you are playing as one of 4 survivors if you choose to go that route. In this case, they're called victims, and you're trying to escape the killer, or in this case, the family. The family, on the other hand, which normally there's only going to be one killer in these kind of games, but for this game there are 3 different killers, and they're all called the family. There's actually 5 you can choose from of victims, or 5 different killers you can choose from, each having slightly different abilities. And they have, a little bit of different play style. The victims, not so much as the killers. The killers actually all play relatively different. The victims, on the other hand, all have one ability that makes them play different. However, you can kind of build them all the exact same if you wanted to, based on their skill tree. So as you level up, you're going to unlock skill points, and you're going to spin those in your skill tree, and your skill tree has these different paths that go down, which will unlock different bonus abilities. You can actually have 3 of those active at once, and then it'll unlock attribute points. And you can put those attribute points into things like stealth or proficiency, or toughness, endurance, and I think there's one other one that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But they basically just make your character either stronger or stealthier or able to pick locks faster, that kind of thing. So just make you better at certain aspects of the game, and depending on how you build your victim, then how the other players build their victims, you can kind of work as a team to try to get through things. Maybe you'll have somebody that's just distracting the killers while somebody else picks a lock, while somebody else is searching for items or whatever. That's basically the gist there. On the killer side, however, the family member, they do play quite different, in my opinion, than they do in those other games. These do not have superpowers per se. They don't have like this ability to just see all and know all, except for Grandpa, which I'll talk about in a second. But there are 5 different family members that you can choose from Leatherface, which is basically a big chainsaw wielding guy, and he can't be attacked from the front, and he can run really fast and basically one-shot you with his chainsaw. Then there's Johnny. He can track you, track footprints, things like that. The cook can actually hear you if he tries to listen for you. Sissy can poison your healing potions and throw poison in your face. And then the hitchhiker can put down traps and the like. So then in addition to that, where it's a little bit different is in some of those other games, you can actually sneak through windows and jump over obstacles to get away from the killer. In this game, you can do that for 3 of the killers. However, 2 of them, Sissy and Hitchhiker, they can both go through the crawl spaces. They can kind of chase you a little bit easier than the other 3. So you do have to be wary of that. And it kind of changes the way the game is played depending on what characters you have. Now, each time you reload up a map, you do have to have Leatherface, but the other 2 characters, or the other 2 family members, can be any of the other 4. So the dynamic can change. You might have a hitchhiker in there, which means that you need to be careful about how you run away from things because he can chase you much easier. Or you might have a Johnny in there who can see your footprints, so you kind of want to move a little bit slower, but if he does find you, you can jump over a bunch of obstacles and get away from him. So the way that you might play and the strategy that you use is different based on the group of killers that are out there. So another thing that I really like about this is the opening and closing of exits. So in other games similar to this, once you open an exit, you usually can't close it. And there's like Dead by Daylight, for example, you do a couple of generators, you open up an exit and you get out. Or if you're the last person standing, then you can get a key and go through the hatch if you know where the key is and the hatch. But in this game, it's kind of similar to that. Instead of having generators, though, you have things like a pressure valve. So you have to go and find this pressure valve release handle thing, and then you have to find the actual pressure mechanism, and you have to release the pressure on it, and then you have to wait some time and the door will open. Same thing with a fuse. You have to find a fuse, then you have to find the fuse box, and there's like a little mini game to be able to put the fuses in properly and open up a gate, which opens up a door down in the basement. But the thing is, neither of those stay active forever. And the family members can then go and turn them off. Another way to get out is there's a car battery that's got like an electric fence kind of thing, and then like a generator that does the same thing. So these are all different ways that you can get out. So it changes up a little bit of your gameplay. You actually have to go and activate one of these or deactivate one of these, and then you have a certain amount of time to get out before the family members can reactivate it or find you or whatever. So there is a lot of camping going on. Once like an area is open, let's say you activate the pressure valve, it opens up the gate, you're going to have somebody probably camping that gate while you are trying to get out as the victim. So you might want to open up 2 different exits, then they have to cover 2 different exits and have a third person trying to find you, basically. So that's one thing that I do like about it a lot, is that it's got a variety of different ways you can get out, and you can always lock it back down as the killer. So that does make it very difficult, however, if you're playing of the victims, and let's say 3 of the victims are killed or 3 of the victims escape very quickly and you're stuck somewhere else. It can be very, very difficult for you to get out, because then you are going up against 3 killers at the same time, and those 3 killers can cover a lot more ground in different areas. So the only way I've been able to get out in those situations is basically using a character which she has the ability to take a hit without taking much damage at all, and open up a gate and then just barge right through very quickly. That's one way to do it. Or you can try to open up 2 different gates and hope that, you know, one of them is free. That's another way to do it. Another aspect is Grandpa. So that changes a lot of the way the whole game is played. Grandpa is a character that is on the family side. He's somewhere randomly in the map. There's different places that he can spawn. And Grandpa starts out asleep or kind of immobilized, and he's just sitting there in his chair. But then if you make enough noise, which is very soon into the match usually, he will wake up and start using this sonar ability. The sonar ability reaches out basically mentally, and it finds all of the victims in an area if they're moving. So then the family can then go out and find blood in, like, there's little areas that they can find blood, or they can hit the victims and actually gain blood that way and feed it to Grandpa and level him up. Each time they level up Grandpa, his sonar ability gets a little bit more active, so it is more frequent. And then at the maximum level, even if you're not moving, Grandpa will still find you, so you can be sitting perfectly still and you'll still highlight on the map. So as the victims, you want to, as quickly as you can, try to escape, because obviously the longer the match goes, the stronger Grandpa will be and the easier it will be for the family to find you. In addition to that, you are already injured when you start the match, so you have this little heart on the side, which is different than your health bar. Your health bar is the amount of health you have, which if you deplete it once, you can fall on the ground and recover from that. It doesn't take very long to recover, and you'll get back up with about half health or so, and you can continue going. But if you get knocked down a second time, you're done, and it's game over for you. But then there's also a heart meter. That heart meter slowly ticks down until the point where you just start losing health, period. And there's nothing you can do about it, and you're just constantly losing health, fairly slowly, but you're constantly losing it, and you have to sit there and keep using healing potions. But the longer it waits, the faster it moves, and so on. So it does become a race against time. You do have a certain amount of time as a victim to get out, and the killers can just delay you the entire time if they want to, or they can just try to find you and kill you. They do, where this is a little bit different, is they do have to hit you more usually than they do in other games like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th. You know, like in those games, one hit and you're limping, second hit you're down, and they can, you know, hook you or whatever. This game, they don't have to hook you. They can just kill you if they get your health all the way down, and then they hit you one time after that. Or if they hit your health all the way down and you recover, you can get back up and run. But most of the time, if they hit you and get your health all the way down, you're done for. So just be prepared for that. But there's a lot of ways you can deal with that. The characters have a lot of ways that they can attack back against the family members. You can't kill a family member. However, you can stun them. You can do a sneak attack with a bone basically a bone knife. It's a bone shard, I believe is what it's called. You can do a sneak attack behind him. Leatherface specifically, you have to sneak attack him. You can't attack him from the front. The other 4 characters, you can attack them from the front, but then it becomes a little mini game where you're struggling, and whoever has the most strength and can hit the and who can button mash the fastest wins that struggle and will stun the other person. So just different ways that you can go about playing the game. But anyway, that's the general gist of it. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I do think it has a lot of potential, and I do highly recommend it for anybody that likes those survival horror games and, you know, that whole suspense of trying to escape or trying to find the victims before they escape. I know a lot of people out there do enjoy these kind of games, and I do very highly recommend this one. It is personally my favorite of this genre. I'm not a huge fan of these kind of games. I did play Dead by Daylight a decent amount, and then I played Friday the 13th for about a week or so, and just kind of got tired of it. But overall, this one, in my opinion, has potential to be better. I've actually been enjoying this one as a solo player. I haven't played too much in a co-op or in group settings. But I do notice that in the group settings, it does tell you who is grouped together in the menu, so you can have like a little red, you know, it looks like a little party icon or whatever, and you can see who's grouped together, both the killers and the victims. So if you're partied up with somebody, you know, both sides know. Another thing that I don't like is that it does tell you who you're playing against. It gives you their screen name to you. Which is not very good, especially if you're trying to stream the game, because anybody can then go, oh, hey, you know, it's this person. I can just go look at their stream, and you can stream snipe them and that kind of thing. I wish that it didn't tell you the names of the players. I wish it just said, oh, you know, you're playing these 4 victims, and these are the 3 family members, and that's all you really need to know. You don't need to know their loadout, which I don't think you can see their loadout unless you're on the team with them. So the victims can see the other victims' loadout, the family members can see the other family members' loadout. But being able to see the names of, like the screen name or whatever, kind of defeats the whole purpose, especially for streamers. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hopefully you found this review helpful, and I definitely say check this game out if you like that style of game. For now, I'm going to head out, and thanks for watching. Bye!